We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2209. Today, Jill and I are talking about the biggest regrets for land investors who quit too soon. We both said, because we didn't choose this topic, This is something fun to talk about today.
Wait. Regrets aren't fun.
No, the regret part's awful, but we're not going to talk about the mechanics of a mailer today.
Oh, I see.
And I don't think that's going to disappoint anyone.
Not necessarily a happy topic, but more fun for us because it's not.
And maybe listener.
Oh, maybe too. I hope that I have three big ones. This is something that for years came to me, fell on me. Because when we first launched Land Academy 10 years ago, I was talking to a lot of people, and there were people that would start and stop, right? So it would be me. It was kind of me doing the selling or telling people and coaching and helping that stuff. We didn't really call it that. I was just the one who answered the phone. We didn't have a staff and things, like what we have now to help with that. So what's interesting is, of all these regrets, there are people that if you're strong enough, you can come back. I've had people that have left Land Academy and come back 3 times.
Sure.
And it's okay. And they're like, this is it. This time I'm doing it. And every time it's always the same thing. And it's like, it's not you guys. It's not the education. This is what's going on in my life. And we're going to share that today. Some of the regrets. And so that's what I was going to say. This topic is really, I have a lot that I can share because I talk to these people when they're calling back on, this is what really happened. And I say, I know, come on back. We'll help you.
They don't let me talk. They don't let me do that.
No.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum, take a deep dive into land-related topics by your request.
Okay, so Chip wrote, this is to Jack.
This is directly to me
Directly
in Discord.
to Jack in Discord, okay. Do you or anyone know where the market land value data comes from in DataTree? And how close is it to actual value?
So here's where it comes from. Each of these data providers, it's Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, DataTree. There's tons of them. Atom Data. Everyone now has an algorithm that they don't disclose what's in it to value real estate. The vast majority of the effort and the money and the resources and capital that goes into developing that algorithm is for houses. Like in all points of real estate data, land is just kind of the stepchild. So they have some metric that they use to create some value. What we do, sometimes we do it very loudly in Land Academy, sometimes we do it for our own business, is take an average of all of those algorithms when we can get them. And I believe true that if you take the averages of anything, 5 or 10 pieces of data, you're going to get something that's a little bit more accurate, hopefully, than just one source. Is it accurate? I don't think so. I think what's accurate is how we do it, which is we take a look at properties that are as like-kind as possible, that are being sold or are for sale and have recently sold. Take an average of those, that's the real value. So, but in that could be part of this data.
Well, I look at that too as like assessor. The assessor, what they value the property for, which is always behind and so out of whack. My favorite thing is always when you get those postcards in the mail and they're changing your house, I hope that you giggle. I hope that you go, oh, if they think it's worth that, yippee-ki-yay, or if they market it really high, you're on the phone with them going, hold on a moment, this is not right. But often it's lower, and you want it that way, so your taxes are not so high.
It's worth saying this. I was trying not to confuse anyone. Assessed data has nothing to do with market value.
Right.
And assessed data, every municipality or a taxing authority, let's say, has a different methodology on how they value your real estate, so they can send you property taxes once or twice a year.
Well, we're
This
saying
should have
the same thing.
This should have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Land value should be other factors. So, would I trust it? What I love about this question, Chip, and why I put it in here is that you're questioning it. And so, no, I would never go on this piece of data alone and then send an offer out based on that.
I agree.
That'd be easy. It'd be
That was
crazy
my
easy.
example. That's why we're actually agreeing. May not sound like it. We're going at it the long way, but we
Well,
are
it's
actually
worth
agreeing.
going at this the long way, Jill, because it's not a soundbite topic. You
No,
know?
I agree. That's what I'm saying. But we both are saying this is one more piece of data, and there's no one shining answer. That's it. Trust that one. It's always right.
Yes,
That doesn't happen.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Today's topic: the biggest regrets from land investors.
Oh, wait, I have a question. Let's go back to this topic one more time. You know what's really interesting about this? I'm thinking of houses, and I'm thinking of land, and I'm thinking of cars. I'm thinking if there was one magic place that you could go, right, for land, like what Chip is asking here today, it's making me think of KBB. I always go to kbb.com,
For
Kelly
cars.
Blue Book, for cars. And what is Kelly Blue Book giving you in there? A range. It always gives you a range. A private party sale range, a dealer sale range, a trade-in value sale range.
And
you
your
get
car's
three.
perfect, then you get more money. If it's not as perfect, yes.
So my point is, why do not no one site like Zillow? If you're listening right now, can you give me a range? I think that would be much better. Seriously, I think it's way more accurate, obviously, and that would be good. So what if it's $10,000 to $50,000 in the range, depending on if it's $1 million house, it should be a 10 to 50, maybe $50,000 to $100,000 range of what they think the value is today. That makes way more sense to me. Just had to get that out. I'm a little mad, and that's it.
I'm glad you're mad.
Thank you.
Look, the real estate market is inefficient, and that's why there's tons of opportunity for us to make money. The stock market and how you buy and sell stock is very efficient. It's a reflection on the real-time, hopefully the real-time demand for what a stock price is worth based on all kinds of crazy stuff. Could be sunny that day, could be a Tuesday, not a Friday, and it could be the company just filed bankruptcy or stuff in the news. There's all kinds of things that affect that. In the housing market, that the equivalent of that is the sellers, whatever's happening in the seller's personal life that's driving them to sell, their will to sell, directly and dramatically affects the house value as well as the shape that the house is in or the land is in. If there's a bunch of old tires on it, that's going to devalue the land theoretically. So the market inefficiency in real estate is why we all make so much money.
True.
So
We can go with the topic now. Thank you.
that
I need to
that
get that
went-
out. You went too fast. I wasn't done.
that went somewhere. It's interesting though. The biggest regrets today we're talking about, the biggest regrets from land investors who quit too soon, Joe.
Okay, so I've got 3. So let me give you the 3. Actually, no. I'm going to do one at a time. So one is, I wish I had forced myself to do this. Again, these are things that people are calling back and they realize they made a mistake, right? They left Land Academy, they gave up, and they're coming back going, I know there's something there. I'm watching your community. I'm watching everybody get rich around me. And this is what's going on. So the number one of the reasons I've got is, I wish I forced myself, which is really code for I wasn't motivated. They were not motivated for some reason. And maybe sometimes you do have to force yourself. I got to be honest, that happens. You may not be, oh, yay, excited every single day. I'm so glad I'm a land investor. I got my hat on. I got my pencils sharp, ready to go. I've got my notepad sitting there excited, watching the phone, waiting for it to ring. It's not always that way. Sometimes you really have to go, oh, I have 3 deals. I wish I had 30, but I have 3 I've got to review today. I need to get them done and see if I'm going to take some action or whatever and schedule it. And you do have to force yourself. So that's one of the reasons that people, one of their regrets, because they know that would have made the difference. If they had forced themselves, if they had stuck to a schedule and they had pushed through on those days it wasn't so fun, they would be very different. They'd be in a very different financial position, I should say, today. Do you want to add before I go on to number 2?
No, I'm going to go at the end.
Oh, okay. The second thing that I hear is, I'm sad that I didn't make this a priority, which means it's code for I let life get in the way. That is one of the biggies that I hear a lot, that my kids were little in school. I had to do this. Everybody makes up excuses. I have to do this. I have to do that.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
But it's a family reunion. I have to time my mailer around my family reunion. Really? Do you want to get rich, or do you want, let's think about how the next family reunion could look if you put your head down here. So they didn't make it a priority. They know that. And they've come back and said, yeah, I let life get in the way a little bit. I let it lead me around, and I really wish I hadn't. And this time, Jill, I'm not going to do that. And then the third one that I have, and this is it's a big, important one, is I let non-supporters of my mission get in my head. Isn't that interesting?
We do a whole Mindset Live event on this topic.
Yeah, because that's important. They said, which is basically, I let other people that didn't believe in it talk me out of it. When you have this community, and I'm not the only one. There's other people that do all kinds of things. This, by the way. In everything that you go into, there's always people that support you and people that don't support you. Say you want to be a doctor. There's going to be people that say, there's going to be people, oh, yay, that's a noble profession and good, you should do that. But there's going to be people going, I don't see you as a doctor. God, every time there's blood, you run, or whatever as a kid, or I don't think you're smart enough to do this. I don't know if I want you as my doctor, whatever it is. That would be the same kind of thing. So it doesn't matter, what path or what you're trying to do. It's really important to surround yourself with people that support you. And that's one of the things when they come back and go, I let that happen and here's what I did. And I'll talk to them and go, all right, where are you now? Do you have the support? Is your ex-person, your partner, maybe it was just even their partner, are they on board? Are they on board now? Because if they don't support you, boy, can you imagine if Jack tried to do this by himself 10 years ago with Land Academy, and even before that, just buying and selling land. If I was not on the same page and told him all the time this was dumb and why don't you just get a real job, could you imagine?
You've never said anything
I've never
like that
said
to me.
that.
Anything. And in the
people do
16
that.
years that we've been together, we've never said sentences like that.
Exactly. I've always believed in you and always supported you.
It's a two-way street.
Thank you. And what's funny is for many of you who have been with us this whole 10 years of Land Academy, you remember we had a couple other businesses that we toyed around with on the side, right? And everything that Jack has ever come up with, I said, all right, let's do it. We look at the math and see what time the commitment's going to be. And hey, whatever his idea is, if the math works, I'm in, and he won't bring it to me if the math doesn't work. So there you go. And that should be the same for this. But so the point is, here, was it jealous? Is it just negative people? Whatever it is, you have to make sure you have the community and the support. And the nice thing about Land Academy is when you come into our group and our world, there's a built-in team right here. So you've got some support. You just need to take care of your own little world. But as far as people and peers, if you will, doing the same thing as you that can help you every single day, we're right here. Go ahead.
Jill and I were in San Diego recently, and we found out just by pure chance that a couple that we've known for a lot of years were there also at the same time and free for dinner. So we all got together, and they brought another couple. So there were 6 of us who we never met before. And after a couple of drinks, we were all talking together about the businesses that we were in and why. And one of the wife of the couple that we know very well said this to me: have you always been an entrepreneur like my husband? And I said, I have never been. I didn't realize it till recently, but I've never been anything but that. Every job I've ever had, I've tried to get out of it somehow or own everything, And she said, wow, he's the same way. So we all started talking about that. Mm-hmm. So the title of this today is The Biggest Regrets from Land Investors Who Quit Too Soon. And this guy and I, who I've known for a long, long time, actually, we've just never talked about this stuff, had a conversation where we were both kind of just shaking our heads saying we just never gave ourselves another option.
True.
I never quit at this. I've always been buying and selling land. I've toned it down a little bit. I've changed some stuff. I've had jobs in and out, but around 1999, it became a complete full-time thing. And then when we started Land Academy, it was really when I met Jill. We really amped it up. So amped it up and involved Land Academy and everything else. Yeah. There is no quitting. You just don't. I never thought about it. I never thought about a family reunion or, I've had, there were probably 2 years one time. For 2 years, I didn't make any money at all. I just figured it out. Did my credit suffer? Yeah. Did my relationships at the time suffer? Of course. But that, I didn't care. And what I really started to think about when I was talking with him, because we were sitting next to each other, is, what's really driving? Like, what's behind that? Do you want to get rich? Do you want a Ferrari? What drove me is I never want to be poor again. And I've had 2 very severe times where, because that goes with being an entrepreneur, you take a risk, you might lose it all. I did twice. Really 3 times, but the 3rd time I had Jill and we worked it out together. But the first 2 times were horrific because it was just me. And so now, whatever we do, and Jill and I are kicking around the idea of starting a retirement type, a retirement online group, or let's just call it. I'm not going to do that halfway. We're going to do it. We're going to do it at 100 miles an hour. So the real issue behind this topic is this: if you're going to give yourself an out, at some point something's going to happen in your life. You're going to take the out.
Not me, man.
I know you're like that. Jill, I know. And his wife is like that. The woman who was asking me these questions, she knew my answers already.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like that too.
That's probably why the 4 of us get along so well, because whatever the partners come up with, us partners jump in with both feet, and we won't let it fail with you. We'll be right behind you doing whatever you need, making it pretty. I don't know.
I'm not patting myself on my back or bragging. I'm saying this because I want to be genuinely helpful. I would really encourage you to sit down with yourself, not your spouse or anybody else. Really sit down with yourself and ask yourself if this is who you are. This is more rare. Again, I'm not touting my own horn, but it's way more rare than people think. Because of the freaking internet, everybody thinks they're an entrepreneur. Nobody wants to have a W-2 job. They just want a paycheck. They want to work from home and have a side gig,
hustle.
Side hustle. That's not what this is. It's a pure, full-blown lifestyle.
I haven't heard that term in a while, by the way. I think it kind of faded away, which was really good.
Oh, I just
You
perpetuated
brought it back. So I can end it on this. If this is you, because you know what? There's a lot of people that I get personal notes and emails, stuff in social media, and then in emails like, hey, I was in Land Academy 6 years ago, and because it's something like this happened right away, but they, but they still listen to the podcast, and they send me little notes like, oh my God, that was so funny the other day. I still listen to your podcast. Thank you for doing it. If this is you, and you don't be embarrassed. Trust me, you are not the first one to say, I've been gone for 6 years. I want to come back. Yeah. Oh, you are, like I said, you are not alone. You're 6 years older. You've got 6 years more experience. You got 6 years of more suffering, maybe. You got 6 years that your kids got older. Fill in the blank. Hey, we're right here. We will welcome you back, and I will help you.
Here's what's great about this, really quickly. I know you're trying to end it. We have, Jill and I have vetted this business model. So that's never a luxury that I've ever had. It come up with an idea. Maybe this will work. Let's spend $10,000 on a mailer. And I don't know, let's see what happens. And so the reason that we have this set of companies right now, and we were talking about this at dinner, the ones that we have now are because all the ones before this failed. We don't talk about those. We only talk about buying and selling land because we're so successful at it. And so just that one thing, that amount of failure really stops the vast majority of people. And this is why people quit too soon. They have one failure and they don't have that thing that's in the back of their brain. Like the thing for me is, I'm never going to be poor again. That's just all there is to it. And I'm not going to get what I want by working a W-2 job. Join us tomorrow where we discuss the one thing that determines whether you succeed in land investing. You are not alone in your real estate ambition. We are Jack and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.